right, so we're gonna get into it. Want to make sure that everyone's able to hear me. Yeah, so I see the microphone's working. So yeah, everything's good. So how's it going, everyone? I'm Terell Johnson, and on today's episode of Birdie AI, we're gonna be training you all on our new series. It's called the Brand Builder Program, and ultimately, what this series is about is helping you create your brand, helping you create your brand story, helping you create a business plan, and everything that you need to really be able to feed to all the AI engines out in the world to be able to have a more successful business. So I'm going to get straight into it. I definitely wanted to change the time a little bit up. So we're going to be starting a little bit earlier this time. We're starting at 5 o'clock. I know it's a Thursday, so just want to make sure that people have enough time to be able to get off of work and just kind of join the session. But if you are not here and you're listening to this later, just know that we recorded this specifically for you. And so we're hoping that you get the best that you can out of this session. We will be having a survey in the near future, just trying to figure out when the best time, when the best day, so we can just try to get the most people possible. But our main goal here today is to be able to deliver this content, get it recorded, share some examples with those who are on the call, and we'll be able to kind of continue this journey as we really like build out our AI platform. And so I'm going to make sure that I can see the chat. And the first thing that we're going to do is just kind of go through our lesson plan. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find your brand identity. So we'll discuss like what that means. Once you kind of know like what your business is, we want to do some research of our competitors. We want to find out what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, in areas that we can do what they're doing. And there's different markets in the world, so just kind of understanding that you're working small all the way up into becoming a global brand, a global business, being able to do business in multiple countries. The world is shrinking, and so there's e-commerce that is taking place, all throughout the world. And so just kind of knowing that can help you position your business and your service in the best light possible. We're also going to kind of look at to making like a mood board. And if you don't know what a mood board is something that you can use to kind of get ideas and inspiration around making different type of content that you'll be able to use as you are building out your brand. And so whether that's making a PowerPoint deck, whether that's like working with different areas, you'll essentially be able to have your brand assets and your color palettes to be able to create slides and decks and things like that. And so this slide deck that I'm using right now is utilizing our brand colors, our brand guidelines. I have other documents that I'll be able to share that'll kind of show you this in more detail, what it took for Law Create Space to kind of get our brand guidelines created, share some rough numbers around how much we had to pay. But ultimately, as you're building out your brand, you want to make sure that you have this. And so with all that kind of combined, we want to talk about the biggest fish in the ocean, or the biggest, fish in the fish tank, whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, it's like writing your business plan. And so AI is really great at helping you do that. And so, and then we're going to have an assignment, something that you'll be able to quickly take away and be able to leverage this in the future for some of the work that you're actually doing. So again, who am I? I'm Terell Johnson. I know my beard's a little bigger, but that's me. And so before launching Birdie AI, I started a business along with my wife called Law Create Space, based in Inglewood, California, where our goal was to support small businesses and entrepreneurs along their digital journey, really focusing on helping them understand how to use digital tools to enhance the things that they're doing, but also bring tech to the communities where I live that were oftentimes underserved and didn't have access to various type of technologies, or just didn't know that they existed. A lot of people struggle doing things. And so we were like, hey, how can we get these tools in the hands of all of our community members, all of our friends, all of our partners, which is why we started Law Create Space. And as a result, we've kind of moved on to starting Birdie AI as a way that we can provide more service in the realm of AI. And so before launching this company, I worked in big tech, such as Meta, Facebook. I worked at Snapchat and Cisco, and now I'm here to work with you on creating the things that you created. And so I'll go through this like fairly quickly. We just have to get this out the way. We'll go into our vision. Our vision is really to be that bridge between cutting edge technology and the real world business needs. And so as I identify things that my members need, things that can be improved. I want to help companies grow bigger, faster, and stronger. And our mission really, again, like I said, is to bridge that gap and to be that sounding board for small businesses and entrepreneurs, as well as like big brands. If you want to go big, you can go with us. If you're just getting started, we have ways that you can get started with this as well. All right, so we'll get directly into it. Hopefully, you all can hear me. I'm going to make sure that the mic's a little closer. But finding your identity, I think when it comes to finding your identity, it's really about understanding who you are as a business, how you want to be portrayed out in the world. If you want to be a designer brand, then you need to have a designer look. If the brand doesn't match really what it looks like, then you're kind of off to a bad start. So the main point of a brand is to have a name. And so this is going to be your starting point. This is really what's going to set the tone. My organization is called Birdie AI. And so if you look at how it's spelled, it's pretty unique. It's with the Y, it's with the IE. And so there's many ways that I could spell Birdie. There's many ways that it could be spelled, but the name by itself is a brand. The fact that it's birdie.ai, it kind of looks like it's one name. So I can say Birdie AI, but then that's also like the website. And so I really wanted to kind of focus around being creative, as well as like creating a logo that really explain, who I am and like what I do. And it just so happens to be my nickname as well. So being able to incorporate something personal, such as like my bio and my name and sort of where I come from, it's really helpful to be able to kind of have that. And so as an owner, you're going to want to make sure that you have a bio. Your bio, once you start hitting the press circuit, it's going to be used everywhere. It's going to be on your website. It's what you're going to be able to give to organizations that are writing stories on you, that are writing blogs on you, as people look you up. Oftentimes, people don't necessarily just want to support a business. They want to support the people behind the business. And if both of them tell a compelling story, then you'll be able to succeed in whatever it is that you're actually doing. And so one of the things about Birdie AI, again, like I said, it's short. It focuses on the AI. It really shows what I'm about, and it gives a little bit of creativity. When we talk about our founder's bio, we want to make sure that I have a specific purpose. So Inglewood-based businesses serving local creators, expand into nationwide online workshops. So that's ultimately what Birdie AI is. And so along with the founder's bio, I'm able to specifically tell what it is. And then when it comes to location, this is really where you're going to be able to customize your customer engagement, because they're going to know exactly like where you're at. And so when you look at your location as a part of your brand, this really shows like where you're at a moment in time. And then the most important thing is going to be your mission, your vision, and your values. This is going to be the DNA of your brand. And really what that means is like, it shows where you're at, what you're doing, and like where you're going. And so for me, my mission would be empower small creatives with AI tools. And the vision is to have every brand run smarter. And some of the values that we try to portray within our company is simplicity, innovation, and community. So when I have all those things together, I can start to understand what my brand is going to be. And I can, start to identify like why it matters. And so the brand identity, is how people recognize you and remember you. It's the collection of elements like your name, your font, your voice, your story, and that's what's going to make your business unique. If we look at an example like a Nike's saying is their slogan is just to do it. It typically is just a black, swoosh with like nothing in the background, like a white background or whatever other colorway that they have, but that it's Nike. You don't have to see Nike physically written, but if you see Nike physically written, you'll also know that that's Nike. And it can just be Nike by itself, and you're going to be thinking about the swoosh. It can be just their slogan, just do it. You're going to automatically think about Nike, automatically think about the swoosh. And so you'll be able to kind of build your brand like in that regard. But it's also more than the visual. It's the why. And so most businesses on their website, on their about page, they're going to have a why. It's going to be like, hey, it's your motto, it's your value, it's like the reason why you exist. And so customers will connect to you this way because they resonate with your vision. They understand what you're trying to do. If you're a sustainable company and you're building clothes that are created, in some, some place in LA. You might be like, hey, these are created and developed within LA. And so that's something that I want to get behind. I want to support the LA ecosystem. Another thing is that it also shapes like your first impression. The first thing that happens when you go to someone's website, you're already judging the website. You're already thinking about how great it is, how poor it is. Can you navigate it? Does it look all over the place? You have all these different perceptions as you go to a website. And if a website looks too fishy, you're probably going to bounce and go find another competitor. And so when you're building your brand and you're building your story, you want to make sure that you have all these things in line with one another. You want to make sure that your images like look well. And so if you were a part of our session last week or last month, we went into how to create content. If you haven't seen that one, then we have a link in the bio, and then we'll be able to share that with you. You can go back and look at it. But really just understanding that you can build different type of content in your brand identity. And so today, what we're going to do, I'm going to kind of go into a tool. The first thing I want to make sure everyone does is that everyone, I'm just going to exit out of this real quick. And I want to make sure that everyone goes to ChatGPT. So if you don't have ChatGPT, again, we're going to be using this as an example. I'm going to put the link in the chat. And if you have used ChatGPT, just put a 1 for me. If you can't find the chat, just click at the bottom. There should be like a little chat icon. And everyone just go on over to ChatGPT for this example. Let me get back to the brand. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so our activity today of what we're going to do, we're actually going to write 1 to 2 sentences about our brand DNA statement. And so depending on what type of business you have, and you can walk through this with you, we'll just create a new business here. I'm gonna copy this, and if you don't have it, I'll just put the prompt here so you can refer back to it at a later time. But again, you have the link to the Canva in the chat, so you can click, or you can take a screenshot of this, and I'll show you a way that you can insert this into ChatGPT. So for this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend like I am a coffee shop. We're going to create a coffee shop called Birdie Cafe. And so when you're looking at ChatGPT, it's able to do a lot of things. And again, let's touch on ChatGPT really quick as a reminder to those who may not know how it works. The main thing that you have over here is you're going to have your, this is your main area. You're going to have your chats, start a new chat. You can search your old chats. You can have a library of images and things like that. And then this is much more of our assistants. We're not going to get into assistants today, but the main thing about it is that if you have a paid version, you get this new feature called products. And if you don't have it, you'll just see the chat down here. So the first thing that we're going to do is just kind of build let's see, what type of product? We can do anything. Let's see. Let's say someone give me an example in the chat. Like, if you have your own brand, if you want to see one, like what is it that we can do? Last week we built a hat brand, but if we don't get anything, we're gonna stick to our coffee use case. All right, cool. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically look at a few things first. The first thing that we're going to do is we're pretty much going to kind of go through and give this prompt to ChatGPT. And so what's cool about ChatGPT is that, the first thing that you want to do is give it sort of its its purpose. Who are you? If you're hiring a brand strategist, let's say, you want to tell ChatGPT that, hey, you are a brand strategist. So if I copy this whole thing, a couple of things that I'm going to need to do, I'm going to need to add my brand name, add my founder's bio, add my location, and add why I started. And then this information is going to be very, very useful as you kind of go through what you're going to be working on. So what we're going to do is just copy this from the deck, copy the prompt, and we're going to paste it here. And so there'll be a few areas that you have to change. So if I say, hey, I'm going to change this to let's make a bike company, Birdie Bikes. And let's say for my founder's bio, I am Terell Johnson, and I am an avid biker who got out of shape and now likes to bike and wants to build new bikes. So this is all fake, but if you had your own brand, you would really kind of write a quick little bio. And again, if you already had your bio, then you can go ahead and just kind of paste that into here. And then I'm gonna say my location is gonna be in Los Angeles. And one of the things about ChatGPT as well is like you can be super specific. So if I say South Central Los Angeles, then I'll be a little bit more specific around like where I'm at, and then why I started it. I kind of put that into here. But let's say I'm Terell Johnson. Let me see. I'm gonna switch this here so it can like tell me a story. So I'll put the brand here. A native of Los Angeles, former tech, and now a mountain biker. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell ChatGPT to use this information to write a brand DNA statement that is short, powerful, and emotionally engaging. It's going to make it no longer than 4 to 6 sentences. So if you're any type of industry, if you're a real estate agent, if you have a candle shop, regardless of what it is, you just kind of put that information here and you're able to create a brand. So what's going to happen is that it's going to go through and it's going to start to give me a story. So again, this is our brand DNA. Birdie Bikes was born in South Central Los Angeles for my journey of rediscovering health, freedom, and purpose through cycling. As a former tech professional turned mountain biker, I know firsthand how movement can rebuild confidence and reconnect us to our community. We create bikes and experiences designed to inspire everyday riders, whether you're getting back in shape, finding a new passion, or exploring your city on 2 wheels. Our mission is simple: to empower people to ride farther, live healthier, and embrace the joy of journey. And so the cool thing about ChatGPT is that, we just made this up, but if I was really starting a bike shop, I'd be like, okay, I can get behind that. They have the pump tracks in Inglewood now. So there's a lot of places that are really starting to enable mountain biking here in LA. We have paths that are going through, from Slauson Super Mall all the way to the beach. And people are really starting to embrace this. So let's say I don't really like how this sounds. ChatGPT is going to immediately give you a few options on how you can actually change the tone. So if I want to say, okay, let's make this bold and edgy. So make it bold and edgy. I could just copy it and paste it and say, give me, I'll just see what happens if we just tell it to make it bold and edgy. So what it's going to do is going to kind of give you different ways of writing it. So we went from something that's much more traditional to, let's see what it gives us. Birdie Bikes isn't just about riding. It's about reclaiming your grind. Born in the streets of South Central Los Angeles, we turn 2 wheels into freedom, power, and self-expression. So you can immediately see that the tone is kind of shifted. It became a little bit, again, edgy and bold. And so we got this kind of tagline here. So if you try that, and something came out cool, if you feel free to paste it, you can let me know kind of what you think. And we'll get back to the presentation. Okay. So now that we have built this out, we're going to research our competitors, because not only are we creating our brand, but we want to know what our competitors are doing. We want to know, the different ways that we can kind of stick out and kind of change and show the work that we're doing. And so when you think about competitors, there's going to be different levels to this. There's going to be your local competitors, which are, small shops, restaurants, service providers, boutiques that are near you. These type of businesses typically rely on word of mouth to get the word across, to like really show people how their brands work. And then from there, you're going to move into a much more like regional base. which are going to be, a little bit more citywide. Maybe if you live in Inglewood, you can be competing with someone who lives in Carson, or you can be competing with, a Leimert Park shop, an Inglewood shop, someone across town. If you're a service-based business, you're going to be able to compete with different service-based businesses from around the city. Typically, you would just put, hey, I'm an LA-based business. Earlier, we put a little bit, South Central, but if we put just LA, you're not only looking at LA, you're looking at LA County. And so then it's going to look within like that region to be able to find who your competitors are. Talk about statewide, pretty self-explanatory. Statewide, users all throughout the state, different companies that are much more on a coastal perspective. And so if you have a lot of members in your industry that travel from city to city, having a statewide presence could be great. Also, if you have a business such as like real estate, you may want to go into like different markets. You may start in LA, but now you want to go up to the Bay. You can pretty much set your website up to be able to be searchable in different regions. And then we have our national and our global brands. These are going to be brands that are global. These are, companies that have been doing it real big. They've been able to scale, but oftentimes you can find that a lot of these larger companies, they typically look to smaller companies who are doing the more creative things. And sometimes they'll kind of emulate you as well. Like they'll look at your type of business, your type of service, figure out what you're doing well. And sometimes they incorporate that, which is cool and not cool in other ways. But what we're going to do and what we're going to look for real quick, we're going to look for different type of brand strengths, weaknesses. We're going to look at an audience and we're going to look at the message and the visuals. So the strengths are going to be like, what do they do well? What are their brand awareness, their design, their reach? Their weaknesses is like, what don't they do well? Where do they fall short? Do they have bad reviews, poor messaging? Do you not like the way that they speak to certain communities? And then we have our audience, trying to figure out who a brand talks to, who are their target audience, who are their user personas. And again, last week we went through personas and understanding like your different type of users and customers and the audience that you're trying to speak to. And then we're going to look at the messaging and the visuals. Is their brand voice good? Do I like their tone? Do I like their logos, their colors? What does their social media presence look like? Because oftentimes, if you want to play with the big dogs, with the big boys, big girls, you have to be able to do those same type of things. So some of the tools that we're going to use today, and some of the tools that you can use for being able to search this is going to be Google search, Google Maps, and Yelp. This is going to help you be able to find local and regional businesses quickly. You're going to be able to look at real customer reviews, and you're going to be able to see kind of strengths and weaknesses. ChatGPT and Gemini is also a great tool to be able to use because this is going to help you automate a lot of your competitor search and create summary tables based on features and products and platforms that you have that you can compare them to. And then another huge one right now is Pinterest, Instagram, and TikTok. And these are basically these are visuals. They're going to be like branding tones and how they connect with their audience. So you'll be able to like visually see these type of things. And all these tools that we're looking at, they all use AI. Google search uses Gemini, ChatGPT obviously is ChatGPT. Pinterest has their own algorithms based on what you like, based on what you look at, based on the different type of things. And so just kind of knowing that a lot of these things kind of work in the background. Why it matters because you need to understand the market landscape and you need to be able to identify gaps and opportunities and learn how to differentiate your brand. Businesses are more successful when 33% of their time when they are able to kind of pivot and change with the market accordingly. You also can do, if you are doing competitive analysis against your brand, you're not going to kind of copycat the branding. You're not going to be doing different type of, things that don't really like work well. And so just kind of understanding that, hey, like I'm looking at this brand and now I can kind of emulate that. If you're a realtor and like someone's creating, cool signs outside, then you may want to go and do that. If someone's taking photos a certain way, you might be like, oh, that's cool. Let me put my spin on it. Like, let me look let me do that like for myself. And so next we're going to do another activity. And again, we want to make sure that these things are very visible. And again, I'm going to put this directly into the chat as well. So it's be our next prompt. And so with this one, you don't have to do too much. Just put your brand name, kind of your location and your mission. And I'll show you a cool way that we can do this to get this information in here as well. So what you're going to say is, you're just going to take this and you're just going to copy, right? And so now it has all the information that I need. And again, I just took this and I just pasted what we created a little bit earlier. And I just put that directly here. And so once I paste it, what it's going to do is going to start to search the web. So again, it's going to look at all these different sites. And then it's going to tell me about all these different kind of bike shops. So the first one is local. The second one's regional, statewide, national, and like a global brand. So if I were to look at, this first bike company, I can see what they're about. A community-oriented bike shop. They're in Bell, California. They're serving Southeast LA. And they're really big on advocacy, education, and the bicycle infrastructure. So if I were just to click on that, we're not judging. We're just going to look. I mean, this is like literally what comes up for a bike shop. I can see their logo. I can see that they're open. I can see the different areas that they serve. And you know what? This local one isn't really, hitting our community. This is more Southeast LA. So let's say for local, can you find a bike shop near, I say Inglewood? And what's going to happen is just going to redo this search. So if you feel like, that it's not, a great one, now I can say, okay, now we have a bike shop. And again, it's going to bring up all this information. And as you can see, what we talked about a little bit earlier, ChatGPT is using many of the tools that we kind of mentioned earlier. It's using Google Maps. It's going to show us exactly like where this bike shop is at. It's like right off of La Brea. So if you are familiar with the Inglewood, Los Angeles area, it's like, right in between Leimert Park or Ladera and Inglewood. And they're going to give us, information. So if I were to go to their website's closed. So unfortunately, we cannot go there. But they do give us some information around like the yellow pages. And so I could say, okay, well, that's not working. So now I can go to the top 30. And so your brand needs to be updated because all these websites, they're going to basically have different ways of doing it. If we go back to let's look at a more global brand. Actually, let's look at a national brand. So if I want to look at this, let me see, what is this? Best bike brands. Start to do your research. And again, ChatGPT gave me all this information to go out and search. So again, you can just go through and figure out, using search, things like that, of like who's a really good bike brand. And apparently it's very hard to find a good bike brand, but let's look at Jensen USA. So they have a pretty cool logo. They have different gear, different merch, but isn't anything that's like really kind of sticking out to me. But you can kind of go and see, what this brand has to offer. And so from here, you're able to kind of really focus on what looks good. So as you click around and do your research, and again, ChatGPT gave me a instant kind of comparison between all these different brands. And so that's the power of AI. When you're looking at different type of companies that you want to potentially like build your brand in. And so as you put your own brand, hopefully things have been coming up, things that have been working, and you're able to see this. Let's get back to the Prezo. Where we at? All right, so we are creating your mood board. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take all the information and create a mood board. And really what the mood board is going to be, it's a way where we can start building our brand. Right now we have a name. We got Birdie Bikes. That's about it. But we don't have like any colors. We don't have any like typography, fonts. We don't have any imagery. We don't have a photography style. We don't have any textures or patterns. All these things are going to be elements that you can use to kind of go across the board. And so before I get any further, what I wanted to do was like actually show you all the Lock Create Space brand guideline. And so this is a brand guideline that we've created to kind of support our business at Lock Create Space. And then currently working on one for Birdie AI, but we're going to create that today, which is cool. But our brand guidelines pretty much kind of shows the different elements of our brand and our logo. The one thing that you don't want to happen is when you create a logo and someone does the wrong thing with your logo, they skew it, they stretch it out, they put the wrong logos over the wrong colors. And so you can see here that there's various different type of logos. You have a full color positive, full color reverse, a one color positive, one color reverse. This is really meant to put your logos on the right background. And then you can have, different variations of that. So we can go from our logo to have a full logo to also have brand icons and brand marks. And so when you look at, our brand icon, we have our LA with the square. So Lock Create Space, we're thinking outside the box. And then we have our create space kind of go along with our brand guideline here. And then we show you how to have it stacked. We don't like to put this logo in front of here. We don't like to put this logo behind there. It just doesn't work. Another thing that we have is our color palette. Our color palette is going to allow us to be consistent across the board. So if I were working with the designer, I was working with the print shop, and I'm trying to get things printed, I can literally just give them this information and say, hey, here's the color that I need. Here's it in different formats. Here's the white that we use. Here's the black that we use, things like that. We can also create our typography. Sometimes you'll have a custom font. Sometimes you'll have a standard font. Regardless of what it is, you want to be able to show which fonts you're using. Not only the fonts, but like how heavy are the fonts? And I know this is a little bit beyond AI, but again, this is something that you're going to need to build and create. And we're going to start building this using our activity next. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, you don't want people doing outlines. Don't do at an angle. Don't do gradients. Don't skew it. Don't, again, put it in the front. Don't fill it with anything. Like our brand guidelines are our brand guidelines. We want it to look good. A few years went by, and we actually made some slight modifications. We kept our typography, but we introduced a new font. The new font was mainly due to our website getting redesigned, and we wanted to use more modern based fonts. And so now we have a kind of combination of, different fonts that we can use in decks and presentations, things like that. We also have a few call outs. We're going to show you what the spacing looks like. We're going to say the do's and don'ts, and you can get to the nitty gritty. We also created some alternative colors. And so our alternative colors are used to have accents. And so now when you look at our website, we have all these elements kind of built into our site. So we have the fonts, we have all of our logos, we have our buttons, we have, all the things that we actually need that actually helps our website kind of stay true to our tone. So going back to, again, creating your mood board, why it matters, because it helps you clarify your vision. The mood board is going to take all your ideas into your head and like put them in a clear direction. It's also going to allow your team to have like a clear vision on the do's and the don'ts about your business. And then it'll also be able to provide creativity. The color palette that I showed you wasn't necessarily like the mood board, but I wanted to show you that because that's sort of the thing that, you want to have, and AI can help you with that. I'm building this deck in Canva. And so if you want to create a mood board, there's a few things you can do. You can, have this drag and drop tool where you're basically just search the internet for like inspiration, dump it into a board, and then you'll be able to kind of like put different images together. You can also look on Pinterest. And so if you never use Pinterest, Pinterest is a great site. So if I want to say, I want to look on Pinterest today, and I want to be like, okay, well, show me. All right, let me just log in real quick. That I was already up in there. So show me bikes. Bike brands. It's the only thing I'm going to put. So the first thing you're going to see is, just different type of logos for bikes. You're going to be able to see different ads, different graphics, just different type of things that we create. And so I want to call out a few of these so we can figure out how to make this in using AI. So I am going to do, yeah. So again, just different, logos and things like that. I kind of like this. It's pretty cool. So if I wanted to have this as an inspiration, I can actually come over here to Pinterest, create a board, and say this is going to be like Birdie bikes. If I wanted to, continue along this journey, I'll just basically continue to go. If I had a real estate company, signs in front of a house, I can get some ideas around like what would I want to do? Like, okay, I think this one looks cool. It has a QR code. I like the way that they do this one. And then you can just keep going on and on. Just keep really building these things out. If I had a candle shop, and just look at candles, I can do the same thing. Hey, I like the way that this candle looks. I like, the way that they're doing this social content. I like the way that, all the things look. I like the background of this. You can get all this type of inspiration. And so being able to do this, being able to use Canva, like sort of what I'm using here today, and I'll just kind of show you Canva like really quick and what you could do the traditional way of building a mood board. So we'll just do a new one really quick and we'll keep it blank, or let's see if they have a mood board. Because Canva is a great tool for creating presentations. And so let's say we did have a mood board. We're like, hey, we're just going to create this. And then from, going to websites like Google, you can actually do this as well and just search. So if I just want to say, okay, show me like bike brand images, then you can put in bike brands. What people don't recognize a lot of times is that there's different ways of seeing the brand up here. So if you just want to see images, you can just click images and pretty much download an image here, or just right click, copy, open up. Sorry, we're not going to save it. We're just going to copy it. And then you would essentially just kind of paste that here. Actually, we didn't like that. So copy image, go to Canva. There we go. And you usually paste it. So if I have like 10 different bikes that I was using, I can go ahead and do that. So for our next activity, what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a mood board. And so you have another prompt here, and we're almost through the presentation. Again, I'm going to paste this into the prompt here. And we are going to go back to our ChatGPT conversation, and we're just going to paste that. So suggest 10 different mood board ideas for let's see, let's do for urban bike brand. Give us the color palettes, selects the font, suggest the fonts, overall vibe, things like that. So really, only thing you have to do is just say what type of brand you have. Give it a few descriptions. I have a modern luxury real estate. I have a a relaxing candle brand, whatever the case may be. But what's going to do is it's going to actually just go out and give you like a whole bunch of ideas of things that you can do. So right off the bat, it gave us the the color palettes. And so if I wanted to actually see what those colors look like, there is a website called, and I think I put it in here. Where did I put it? Yeah, it's called Colors or Human. Let's see. We'll go to Human first. So you can look here, and I'll just put this here as well. And we'll kind of skip through this since we're sort of already doing this part. So if you ever want to figure out colors, you can go to either one of those websites. So if I were to go to colors.co. Sorry for bouncing around, but we will, part of the fun. So if I go to colors.co and I use my ChatGPT, you can definitely sign in. It's a free account. Definitely suggest getting Google so that way you can actually just log into a lot of these accounts and you can, explore trending palettes. And so what's cool about this is that you can actually see different color combinations. So if you like these color combinations, you can okay, this is what I want my brand to look like. You can go ahead and copy it from ChatGPT. If you pretty much have these color palettes, you could just copy them. It's going to give you, different type of color schemes, different type of things like that. And then we're going to ask it to mock up a mood board for option 10. And so really what this is going to do is going to actually start to mock up what it would look like. And then let's say you decided to go on this. Now you actually have a way to really see, everything that you have and you create. And so this is a great start to creating your brand. If I go back to the presentation, we're just gonna kind of talk through, why the colors matter, because you want to have a primary color that looks good. You also want to have accent colors that go well with the brand. And then you want to have some colors that are fairly neutral, in the middle. You also want to have textures and patterns. You don't want to have too many random type of patterns, too many random type of textures, but you really just want to focus on the core ones. And colors really show emotion. If you have some bright red, that might trigger someone. So you want to make sure that the colors kind of match your brand, that they're going to look good. If you're going to make, different type of, what was I going to say? If you're going to make different type of logos, and you're going to put it on shirts and put it on clothes, you want to make sure that that it just looks good. You want to make sure that your logo is recognizable. And then when people see it, they can actually know what it is. They can see the colors. They can sort of trust it. We talked through going through the palettes. And then we also want to talk about logos and what you can do to get a logo created. So there's many ways that we can build a logo. The first being ChatGPT. We could say, give me a logo idea that I can use in Midjourney. So again, just asking them about different logo ideas for a bike. And what it's going to do is it's sort of going to basically kind of give you different options of how your logo could be. And so if I was trying to create a logo, the first thing I'm going to do is say, I'm going to take this prompt. And again, all I said was give me a logo idea that I can use in Midjourney. And Midjourney is another tool. I just want to use it for this example, but you can also take this prompt and you can put this in ChatGPT. You can select, /image, and then you can put the logo there and then see what happens. And then we're also going to do this same logo in a product called Midjourney, which is another image generation tool. And again, if you were with us last week, then you would have seen this tutorial. And so just know that these are the tools that we use. Let's see. So let's do create. So now we're creating a logo. And it knows that I put Birdie. And so now it's starting to create me, some logo examples. I may like them, I may hate them, but again, this is a good start to really get inspiration around the things that you want to do. If I go back and sort of look at ChatGPT, it's still going to be rendering. ChatGPT does take a little bit longer when it's rendering logos. Basically what it did, it actually went through and it used all my logo colors from here. So when it has the jet black, it has the hustle green, the yellow, the red, and the white. I can easily go and see hey, it has all the colors. It created the logo, didn't spell the name completely correct, but I kind of like this. This is pretty cool. I like this one. So if I wanted to use this for my logo, I can basically say, hey, give me a slight like variation. So I want to rerun it. So it's going to give me a few other options of things that I can use. And actually, this one's dope. I think this was like a lot better. So this is ChatGPT, just like coming out the gate. Birdie bikes, has a bird, has the gear, looks pretty cool. So if I wanted to use this as my logo instead of like me paying others, I can just go ahead and like run with this, like not a problem. Um, so once you kind of get your logo, there's a couple other tools. You can use websites like Fiverr or Upwork. And so these are, really great tools where you can hire someone, pay them about 50, 60 bucks, and they'll be able to create a logo for you. There's also a website called Hatchful that I've used in the past. And so if I go to Hatchful, it is a logo making platform. They might have got picked up by Spotify recently, so it may not be there anymore. But if you were to go to the other example that I have in the demo, which is like Looka. Looka is a great tool as well. Don't know what happened to Hatchful, but Looka is a logo design and brand, creation company. So if you want to create notebooks, folders, binders, all types of merch, you can go ahead and like work with Looka. They'll make you a logo, and then you can, get all your things like printed out on all these different platforms. Okay, so we'll get back to our deck. Make sure we can finish on time here. Let's go present. Let's take it full screen. We got our colors, we got our AI prompts, we're good there. And so now our last thing that we're going to do is write our first business plan. So now that we kind of have all that information, we want to make sure that, this is where it's really going to take a little bit more time for you to actually come up with like a cool plan using ChatGPT. And so when it comes to your basics and your summary, you want to put your name, location, what do you do, and a quick overview. And again, we kind of went through this at the beginning. You also want to talk about your problem, the solution, and the market, and like why you are doing what you want to do. And then you want to talk about your competition, your strategy. We kind of went through identifying who our competitors are, and understanding how we're going to differentiate ourselves. And if you haven't thought about that, ChatGPT can give you various type of ways that you can actually do it. And then you're going to talk about your money and your goals, because we're all in business to make money. So you have to be very specific around things that you want to do, where you're at now, and where you want to go. And this really matters because this is going to help you set your direction. So as you're starting your business, you don't necessarily just want to start with some pie in the sky idea. You want to be able to use this to create a direction that keeps you going northward. You want to be heading forward. You also want to have clarity around what it is that you're doing. And so this helps your business ideas stay focused. It helps services stay focused. A lot of lessons that I learned as an entrepreneur starting our own business are things that I'm literally sharing with you today. And it helps you just stay focused and keep your credibility, because you're not all over the place and people kind of identify you as being great as like what you do. Sorry, this looks like it got doubled up. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually do a business one-page template where we're going to write down our brand basics. We're going to summarize our problem or solution, and then we're going to find our market and our competitors. And then we will add our first revenue idea plus 2 to 3 goals. And so this one may take you a little bit longer, and this might be like your homework for the most part. But what we're going to do is I'm going to do a quick example here and show you a couple ways that we can actually pull this information in. So again, I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to ChatGPT, and I'm going to just paste this. I'm going to turn off the image. And so one of the things that we're going to do, and you guys might hear me talking a little bit, but I'm going to walk you through like each of these phases. It has some of the information already located within our prompts above. So as you start to put a lot of this together, you want to make sure that you are retaining all the information so that you can copy and paste it back, or you can just ask ChatGPT to give you that information. So if you've never used Dictate, the Dictate is a option that allows you just to speak. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my brand guideline over to the side into another window. And I'm going to basically look at ChatGPT. I'm just going to basically erase all this because what we're going to do is we are going to just put the information in there because we've already went through a lot of the problems. And so once this is kind of deleted, I'm going to let ChatGPT do its first pass. And then I'm going to add some more context. So I'm going to hit this dictate button and I'm going to be like, check, check. So now you can see it. I'm speaking within ChatGPT. So for our brand name, it's Birdie AI. I would like you to come up with a couple taglines, subtitles. We're currently located in Los Angeles, California, but we serve the greater Los Angeles County community, as well as Los Angeles. We do drop shipping. We will create bikes. We will do custom bikes, custom colors, custom painting, custom everything on the bike. And that's what we do. We build quality bikes for pump tracks, for urban bikes with training wheels, all different type of brands that create bikes for the family. Our target market is the greater Los Angeles area, along with California. Can you do a little bit of research on some of our local competitors, local bike shops who do full end-to-end bike creation? And then our marketing strategy is to show our users using bikes, riding bikes, and how much joy it brings to families and communities. Our revenue model is that we will sell bikes directly, we will sell refurbished bikes, we will sell various bike parts, and we will sell custom bikes. So a direct-to-consumer market, e-commerce market, heavily used in social media. Our goals right now is to sell 10 bikes by the end of the month, with our long-term goals of selling at least 50 bikes per month. Can you incorporate this into our business plan and keep it very succinct and give me a 12-month outlook? So as you can see, I can just speak all these things, all the things that you would tell a business advisor, treat ChatGPT as that. And so I was able to take that quick time and just create my business plan. And what it's going to do, it's going to create the business plan and give it a quick little second. And what's going to happen is like now I have much more of a kind of entry business plan with my brand. Can you include my logo, color palette, and all the relevant information? So, and add to a PDF. So what it's going to do is going to take that logo and it's going to basically grab all the relevant information. So what's pretty cool about this, again, you can create your brand, you can create your logo, you can create your kind of brand guidelines and things like that to really sort of help you create your business and just continue to grow. I know we're coming up on time, but if you're still there with me, I have a couple more slides and then we will be complete with this. So while we're waiting on that, building your brand is going to be important because it's going to define who you are, what do you do, and why you exist. And the things that we did today, we created a brand DNA statement. We using your name, the founder's information, and the location and the mission. And then we learned how to identify our competitors, the different levels. We explored different visuals and different tools that was able to help us create a mood board, figure out what our brand's going to be. And then we created a simple one-page analysis, as well as creating a business plan. So we've done a lot today. And then we also created our business plan. So with ChatGPT, we're able to create a business plan and we're able to use that to sort of create our brand. We got our logo, we got all the information, and we have a very entry-level business plan that we were all able to create within 1 hour. So this is going to conclude our session. it says Birdie AI. I did leave a link here, and then I'll be sending up a follow-up email to which if you would want to set up time with me, you can set up some time to actually be able to set up one-on-one time, and you actually be able to set up time that we can kind of go through. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat.